Hello and welcome to Tech Raven. I'm Nigel and today I'm talking about this little fella right here, which is a Canon BR-E1 Bluetooth remote controller that's designed to work with pretty much any Canon DSLR or mirrorless camera of recent years that is Bluetooth compatible. Now, to save you going over to the Canon website to find out if it will work with your camera, I've actually cut and pasted that list from the site and I've put it in the description below so you can just have a little scroll through that to see if it will work with your camera. It also needs to be paired up to your camera, which literally takes about 10 seconds. I'm going to demonstrate how to do that in a second. But in the meantime, I just want to tell you why I got this, and I'm absolutely astounded with myself that I didn't buy one of these earlier because it is such a time saver. It's incredible, especially if, like me, you make YouTube videos like this where you're presenting to camera, or documentaries where you might be on location and you've also got to do a piece to camera. So in this example right now, I'm basically shooting this video on a Canon R6 Mark II, and I'm using this controller to start and stop the actual video recording. Now the camera is only about 7 or 8 foot away from me, but the way I'd do it in the past, I would basically come and sit down here. I would basically check my composition because I've got the fold out screen on the R6 Mark II folded out to the side of the camera and facing me so I can actually see myself. So I will check the composition by looking off camera slightly and check that that's okay. I'll check the levels, make sure the eye tracking is following my face and so on and so forth. And then when I'm ready to go, I will get up, walk over to the camera and press record and then come back and sit down here. Now the trouble with that is when I sit down, I've always got to check my lav mic, make sure it's in the right place and it's not touching any cloth on my shirt. Check the cables down here to make sure they're not going to get caught on the chair or caught in my hand, and that my actual transmitter pack is mounted on my pocket correctly and so on and so forth. And then I check my composition again to make sure, my head isn't chopping out the top of the screen and my arm and shoulder isn't cut off the edge of the screen and so on and so forth. And then take a deep breath and then get ready to start presenting to camera. But the time I do all that, I've normally got about 60 seconds of handle at the beginning of the clip. And worse still, as any YouTuber will tell you, when you get talking, usually you make 3 or 4 or 5 errors before you actually get into the video, which makes it even worse because that means that when you get into DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut or whatever you edit with, you've normally got a 2, 3 or 4 minute handle of junk before you even get to the good part of the clip. So I find I've got to scroll through until I get to the bit where I'm hello, welcome to Tech Raven, until it's a good one. And I've normally got 3 or 4 of those to get through before I find the right one. And if you got that long clip at the beginning, this sort of handle, it's a waste of space because it's taking up gigabytes on your hard drive. And yes, in Final Cut and DaVinci Resolve and probably other programs, you can actually go in once you've finished editing and all the bits of trimming that you did, it will discard those to actually reduce the complete file size. But I find by using this, it just saves the hassle because otherwise, once you're rolling, if you make a mistake, you're not going to get up and walk over to the camera and press stop and then press start again so you can start the clip from scratch. You'll generally just leave it rolling and deal with all that garbage at the beginning of the clip in post-production. But now if I make a mistake, I would just hit stop and then just instantly hit go again, put the remote control down here, gone, and then I'm ready to go. I haven't got to start messing with my lav mic or making adjustments to wires or anything like that because I'm just sitting here all the time and it just works to perfection. So it's fantastic for that. So you can also take still pictures by just pushing this button. So if you're a wildlife photographer, you can just use this to set your camera up and you can take a picture instantly with this button, as well as starting and stopping video. Okay, there's a couple of little things I just want to show you on the computer about this to go through some of the specs and technical things. And then I'll quickly show you how to pair it. And then I'm going to come back here and wrap up the video because there's something very important that you need to know about using any device like this. Okay, check this out with me and then we'll be right back. Okay, so before I bought the Canon BR-E1, which I bought on Amazon, and in the UK it's reduced at the moment, a little bit of a discount on it, but it's around about £45 UK price. I did try and save some money by buying this Amazon Basics one because it's only £13.5p. However, it didn't work for me. Now, even though on their list of compatible cameras, it says Canon EOS R6 and EOS R5, admittedly mine is an R6 Mark II, but I wouldn't have thought there'd be an awful lot of difference in the way the Canon R6 and the Canon R6 Mark II receive a simple Bluetooth signal from a remote control device. Now, I could be wrong on that, but for me, I couldn't get it to pair and it just didn't work. So be aware of that one. Now, admittedly, this Amazon Basics one, it did feel kind of a little bit cheap and tacky, but it is what it is. And it's only got a range of 10 foot, whereas the Canon has got a range of 15 foot. The Amazon one, at least they give you a nice little bag. Canon don't give you anything, which is kind of a bit disappointing. So I guess it is what it is. But the Amazon felt cheap and tacky. Probably only cost 40p to make in China, and it feels like it. But having said that, the Canon one, although it feels a little bit better, it's still plastic, and it probably only costs 40 or 50p to make in China too. But hey, it's got Canon written on it, so of course it's going to be way more expensive. But that's just what Canon, Nikon and Sony do. Or in the music world, Yamaha and Roland, they just seem to have their own special pricing structure. Admittedly, the products are better. You get what you pay for. So I would just go for the Canon BR-E1, because with this one, at least you can just take a picture straight off the bat. Because what happens with the Amazon one, you can't take a picture straight away. You have to actually set your camera to 2-second or 10-second timer mode. So when you press this button, there's either a 2-second or 10-second self-timer mode to get that to actually work for taking stills pictures. It's fine with video. Again, on the cameras it works with, and even if it's listed here, I wouldn't hold your breath because it may or may not work. But with the Canon, at least for stills photography, you just push the button and you don't have to set the camera to any of the self-timer modes. It just takes the picture instantly, which is great if you're a wildlife photographer. And it's also got a range of 15 foot instead of 10. So yeah, it's more expensive, but just go for the Canon one. It will work and it's got those extra benefits. Okay, let me just quickly run through a few images just to show you a few close-up shots. So this is the BR-E1. It looks nice. And this is just a side shot of it here. Let me just run through these. So here we've just got the Bluetooth logo, battery compartment with a single screw to remove the battery. And inside there is a CR2032 battery. The battery lasts approximately a year, and at least it's very easy to change it. And then you've just got this big hole here that you can put a strap around. We got the release button, the indicator lamp, the AF button to start the AF, and then we've got these wide and tele buttons. You're probably thinking, now what are they for? Now what these are for is if you buy this bad boy, the PZE2 power zoom adapter, which isn't cheap, you can actually remote control it via these wide and tele buttons. So what this is, it's just a device that basically screws onto R series lenses, and that then allows you to do servo and manual zoom, etc., etc. And this is basically how it looks when it's screwed onto the lens. This is how it looks on its own. So yeah, that's what that device actually does. So if you're interested in using the wide and tele controls on this device, you will need to buy one of those to make it work. And then on the side, we've just got this single slidey switch that's got 3 positions. The top switch here is immediate release. So when you've got it in stills photographic mode, it's going to take the picture instantly. So unlike the Amazon Basics one, where you've got to put the camera into self-timer mode and set it to 2 or 10 seconds, this will just work immediately. And then the middle setting, you've got a 2-second delay release, which is kind of like a 2-second self-timer, I suppose. And this is there so that you can actually press it, put the remote control in your back pocket so you can then do something funky with your hands before the shutter is released. So it just gives you a 2-second delay so you can put the remote in your pocket and pose properly. And then the third and final setting is movie shooting mode. So on that one, you have your camera set to movie mode on the top, obviously. And then in this mode, it will allow you to press the button here to start and stop your movie recordings. Okay, so now let me just quickly show you how to pair this to your camera. I'm going to be doing this with my Canon R6 Mark II, but it's the same procedure on pretty much any camera. So let me show you that now. So the first thing we're going to do is just click on menu. Once in menu, we're going to click on this screen here. And once in there, we're going to scroll to connect to wireless remote. We're going to select that. And then we're going to click add a device to connect to. And on this screen where it says busy, please wait, it's at this point that you press both the wide and tele buttons at the same time. You hold them both until you get the flashing light on the remote, let go, and then it will come up with paired with, and we are done. Tap OK. Simple. Okay, so that's it. That's the Canon BR-E1. Now, I did say that there's something very important that you've got to remember about using devices like this with your Canon camera, and the key word here is Bluetooth. Now, we all know, or at least you should know, that Bluetooth eats batteries just like a Wi-Fi signal does. So, in the same way that a car will eat through more petrol if you've got the air conditioning turned on, you get less miles per gallon because when you've got the air conditioning on, the car's doing something else and sending petrol through to somewhere else, and you just get worse gas mileage. And it's the same with cameras. When you've got Bluetooth switched on, or mobile phones like iPhones, for example, when Bluetooth is on, what's happening there is there's some gizmo inside the camera that's kind of like a little amplifier thing with an antenna, and as soon as you turn Bluetooth on, the camera is like, it's just hunting for a signal. It's constantly looking for a Bluetooth signal to pick up, and that uses battery power. Now, even when the camera is in standby mode, that Bluetooth signal and that little amplifier thing that's constantly looking and searching for a Bluetooth signal is working even in standby mode, because some devices like this will wake the camera from standby. So obviously, if you've got Bluetooth on and the camera goes into standby mode, it's still working away in the background. Now, I don't know what the reduction is in battery capacity, but it is quite large. You'll lose anywhere between about 5 and 20% battery capacity by having Bluetooth on all the time to use something like this. So what I do with my cameras, I actually go into my menu, and in any Canon camera you've got like a custom menu, a little star at the end of the menu thing where you can just put in little things that you want to put in, your own personalized customized menu. I've got a few things in there like audio levels and card formatting, just things that I use all the time, so I can just find them in my personal custom menu. And what I've also put in there is the airplane mode. So on the Canon cameras, you've got an airplane mode. Now, I leave my airplane mode turned on all the time because that way it kills the Wi-Fi and it basically kills the Bluetooth devices in the camera. So I know that I'm going to be getting the best battery performance possible for shooting video. But then if I'm going to be using this, what I will do is I will go into that custom menu and I will just hit airplane mode and turn it off. That way it's going to be turning on the Bluetooth by default. Now, you could go in and find the Bluetooth section of the menu and put that into your custom instead, but I just choose to have airplane because that way I know if airplane mode is on, any signal from the antennas in the camera and those little gizmos that are searching for Wi-Fi signals or Bluetooth signals, they're going to be switched off and I'm going to be getting the best power possible. So if you're not using anything like this, I would suggest turning airplane mode on your camera and leaving it on all the time to get the best possible battery performance. So that's it, the Canon BR-E1. Pros and cons. The pros are, I guess, comparing it to the Amazon one, as I've already mentioned, it's got a better range of about 4 or 5 foot. It's also better built. I like the fact that it's got this big hole here. You can spin it around on your finger or you can put a strap around it. They could have made it a lot smaller to about there and then just put a tiny thing on the corner for a little thin string strap. But I like the fact that it's a bit bigger. It's just a bit more to hold on to. So I like that. So negatives, there's only one really, and that is the fact that Canon didn't give you a little pouch. They could have included a little faux leather pouch or a little velvet drawstring bag or something like that, because even the cheap Amazon one at £14 throws in a little sort of drawstring velvet bag kind of thing. Canon don't, they just, in the box you get this little bit of bubble wrap stuff. So what I do is I just sort of keep mine in here and fold that over and I put it in my camera bag like that. But to be honest, the amount this cost and the amount it would have cost for a little faux leather thing or a little drawstring bag, it probably would have only added about 10 pence to the production cost. And Canon could have done that. But apart from that, it's a great device. Don't bother with the Amazon one. Just go straight for this because it's good quality and it should last for ages. So it's a really good device. So as usual, if you like the content, subscribe here. I know you probably get sick of people saying that. And hope to see you in the next time. You've been watching Tech Raven, the channel that concentrates on audio production, video production, and of course, photography. So until the next one, bye for now.